getting get by Keen a couple of games in a row. That Smolder, he was able to make it work.
And I regret to inform you that we will not be seeing the Yorick in this either. That is already taken off the table, as is the Callista. And then on anyone's Legend side, that Renekton being removed. I do like how much it seems that Gen.G did pay attention to some of these high prio picks for anyone's Legend, the Callista also being something that they've been really successful with.
And those bans, given Chovy's performance in the last game, makes sense. He was invisible on the Silas, a pick that normally he has high impact on. Nowhere to be found in that last one. Shanks with the AP build, really running him over. And so, as a result, AL just say, ban out Keen. Take away as many of the powerful picks that you can pick. Both Jace and the Renekton. There are counter picks, but they are known for being hard to actually shut down, and they can take over games if they get early leads.
We're really falling down towards the low A tier, B tier picks in every single role, with obviously 6 bans in this game so far, but also the 8 bans per role from the previous games in this Fearless. So, first pick, what do Gen.G want? They selected blue side, and Rise is still up. Firstly, a denial from Shanks, who is absolutely superb on the pick, but also something that Chovy will be very happy to have his hands on.
Yeah, it's everything you kind of want for Chovy, right? The ability to join up in a team fight, the global for the overall team composition, and something that we had seen until this point kind of remain on the ban list.
Also uniquely a flex pick. We saw it on the giant board that Kobe was holding up earlier before Raz, started throwing stuff at it. Keen did play this already.
He played it before. The thing that's cool about this is it is like a pocket pick for him in the top. He's brought it out even when it has truly been off meta before the days of Fearless, as we see this Skarner hover and the Skarner coming in. Not only a solid pick for Tarzan, but also a denial from Canyon.
Yeah, there's a reason AL have been banning it out in the other games, right? They want to make sure that Canyon doesn't get his hands on this. I think Gen.G, one of the best teams in the world, generally, but also playing around this Skarner pick and making sure you utilize it well. So often we see Impales going wide. Gen.G just really good at setting up to make sure you get those multi-man Impales. It is going to be the Sejuani as an answer for here from Canyon. I wonder if we'll see a melee top laner as well. Obviously, Sejuani's passive so powerful when you have a melee, and it is the Camille locked in for Keen.
Keen throwing down the gauntlet with the blind pick Camille coming out.
And there are a lot of the picks you often see Unted already taken away, right? Even things that might not end up in the lane matchup, but the Poppy comes to mind as the classic Rise counter pick. Hasn't worked out thus far, but with Shanks' performance on the day, I think that the trust is earned.
I just also really like the way Gen.G have gone around these first 3 picks. Getting the Rise, very good for them, obviously, is that first pick. But as soon as they see AD, carry, and jungle, they're like, okay, if we're locking top on this rotation, you can only answer either mid or top. AL have decided mid is the answer. Cassio obviously really nice into the Rise, but it does allow Gen.G to get rid of a couple of top laners here if they're worried about anything from AL.
We're also getting to the point in the game where there aren't a lot of engage supports left, so picking up early engage in that Sejuani is a big deal.
Yeah, as we see the Leona already being taken out by Gen.G, kind of following exactly your thought process, Chronicler. Well, we also see the Ruler Zeri being banned out once again by anyone's Legend. And this Cassio pick is something that Shanks has had success on, that we have seen anyone's Legend play around previously in the LPL. And the big thing to me that I want to know is, what does Flandra have against this Camille?
Vayne top. Don't think it would work, but it would be fun to watch.
I don't think it would work either, but what a way to go.
Yeah. Well, Renata banned out here by AL. The Callista obviously banned away earlier by Gen.G. They've removed Leona on this second rotation. I wonder where they're going to go with this final ban. Could be something for the top lane. We talked about Elise, another engaged support. Has a huge amount of damage alongside the Corki in that bot lane. Can make things difficult for Juro and Ruler.
Bot lane matchup going to come through here. There is the possibility for what I would love, which is a support counter pick here for Kyle. I think he can really shape matchups. As that, the Shen could be coming through here. Most likely would be going towards the top side of the map, but could theoretically still be a flex. And I like this. It still keeps a little bit of uncertainty what AL are going to do with this pick.
Yeah, it could go, but I do think that that probably is going to
Most
go
likely.
into the top lane for Flandra, and we will see the response over here from Gen.G to round out their composition.
Where are we in terms of AD carries? Are we down at the Aphelios levels? Is that what we're looking at? Jinx was already banned out. Xayah actually has
still
worked
up.
her way through and is still available. So gives you great safety, good self-peel with that Featherstorm.
I was looking at Ashe as well, particularly when combined with the...
Ooh.
Oh, Duro!
Okay, Duro. Locks in the Blitzcrank. You know what Gen.G want to be doing here, finding those picks. They have so much CC to follow up and good backline threats if they need to distract AL during those fights.
And as a Cassio, for example, if you do get hooked, that is just the end of it. You are forced to be in range, right? As strong as she is, you can weave in and out, but you are not going to be able to escape.
Shen
At
support.
least getting close.
Shen support still a possibility.
Yep.
The Gragas locked in. So it looks like it is going to be Kyle on the Shen in that supporting role, answering into the Blitzcrank Xayah that has come out from Gen.G. Top lane, Gragas known as a bit of a counter into the Camille. If she goes for the hookshot wall dive, obviously you can body slam, and then you have the explosive cask as well.
That's the big thing. There is so much safety to keep these big carries, Shanks and Hope, safe. You have the disengage from the Gragas. And one of the big things with Camille is that even a mobile AD carry you can lock down. With a Gragas, that's going to be way harder for Gen.G.
Yeah, and it's really going to depend for me what these junglers do early, right? We've seen in a lot of these games, actually, it's kind of whoever is able to get out ahead. In particular, Tarzan absolutely dominated in the previous game. And if he's able to have a similar impact on this anyone's legend team, they should be able to set up really well to protect their carries.
As for me, X Factor is Canyon as non-subscribers. We'll see you in 30 seconds. On one hand, but Duro is the other, right? This Blitzcrank, we know how this pick works. You either look like you are 1v9ing the game. We saw even last time Asila Hens basically farm his MVP just with that the Blitzcrank with the hooks. And we'll see if Duro can repeat that here a year later.
So far through this MSI, we have had, well, this is our 5th best of 5. The record ever is 6. Vancouver, everyone watching at home, let's make some noise for anyone's legend and Gen.G as we jump into Game 5 between two favorites for the tournament, the upper bracket. That winner's final is looming large for both of them. Duro on his Blitzcrank, 13-4 career all-time on this, as AL look to make a little bit of an inroad in here. Flandre with the flank. Ruler's on vision. Duro's not there with him. Tarzan's coming in from the side as well. Will Ruler
They're ready for the body slam
at all?
Flandra's right there.
A moment of silence before it all erupts. Tarzan's going in. Ruler trying to escape. Flashes. The flash follow. The cleanse as well to get away from the slow there from Ruler. Both summoners down for the Gen.G bot laner.
And you get the sums. The timing is big as well, though. Ruler doesn't want, as he is flexing his own skin there on the base, but he doesn't want to have a health deficit, so he is just going straight back. And it both allows Flandre to just leisurely walk back to his lane, while also ensuring that there is early lane control for the bot lane.
Looking to try and get his flash down already. Gets the hookshot wall dive, and Shanks is going to be below half HP as this laning phase starts. Flandre trying to catch out Keen as he walks across, but shouldn't be able to do too much here, especially with Canyon in the area. Canyon can smite this. Just needs a couple more auto attacks. Hookshot wall dive again. Flandre has no flash. Canyon gets the level 2. And now you're looking for the permafrost. There's the stun. No follow-up from Canyon, but Flandre will come into the lane at half HP.
Yeah, that's huge for Keen to be able to take control over this lane. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, if I'm not mistaken, that also did give AL early brush control, taking it away from the Blitzcrank, which can change the dynamic of that 2v2 down there. They look like they are getting the better of the early push.
And Keen taking control in his own hands very early on here. Canyon not wanting to overchase there. Not knowing where Tarzan is, and also if you do get delayed too much on your clear, obviously can come at a cost. A lot of sums being blown, a lot of health bars being trimmed down, but no one going down just yet in this game number 5.
No one going down, but already Flandre is in a massive deficit off of this, right? Like he is, Keen is already up over 200 gold. Flandre's only been able to get 3 CS now. He will be able to kind of collect this wave, it looks like, or what's left of it, and finally get out a little bit. But that gives Keen, as Canyon's gonna have to flash over that wall. I was gonna say, it does give Keen topside control with that ward onto the Krugs.
But it's the bot side prio that is there for AL, so even though Tarzan might take a while, eventually he'll be able to take down Canyon as Duro and Ruler.
Duro looking for that rocket grab, isn't gonna send it out. Sometimes the threat of it is enough, even more deadly than actually using it. Flandre's still in a world of hurt here in top lane, basically 2 waves down as Keen constantly trading with that grass.
Maybe a dive. I see the on the way ping there from Canyon. Not going to be level 4, and Flandre, I think, knows. Should be going for the back, and Canyon not wanting to risk it. Greg is notoriously hard to dive as well.
Tarzan, yeah, is heading up.
It looks like he's just going to go over to his Wolves. TP comes out from Flandre as he has finished his recall.
Shanks is in kind of a dangerous spot, though. He's been pushed in, which has further given Gen.G a lot of bot side pressure, as Canyon might be chased off these.
Should be able to get it.
Canyon has smite,
yes,
so
smite.
Unless they fully reset, which they are going to do before they get into the smite range. Well played by Tarzan, skipping his blue and his Gromp, actually, to come back up there to make sure he was in range. Duro looking here for Kaya. We'll take him down to half HP. Even with that Spirit's Refuge, Kaya still takes a world of hurt.
Big side to that by Ruler. He didn't have the cleanse, just now comes off cooldown. If he would have gotten taken, that could have been a really rough trade. Canyon, though, still looking for scraps.
He looks like he's potentially going to go to the Krugs. I was wondering if he was maybe going to go for a lane gank, but he would have been spotted out on the ward.
Yeah, a couple of wards there for anyone's legend on the bottom side. Tarzan now over onto his Grump. We'll have about a 2 camp lead. Room Prison onto Shanks. He'll chase onto Chovy, but the phase rush gets Chovy out of range of any subsequent Twin Fangs.
And we see Canyon pretty substantially behind Keen, trying to hold on to this lead here. Camille, first few levels obviously very strong. And once this wave actually gets cleared by Keen, early wave clear when it comes to multiple waves. And once for Camille, obviously always very rough. Should be able to pick it up as Duro going to be trying to play with a fog as much as possible. They obviously know that he's in that brush, but going to be trying and play those mind games. If Hope ever gets grabbed, which with the W shouldn't happen, could be a window for Gen.G.
And Flandre, with kind of getting back into this game, and Push is able to get that ward out. Canyon.
Shanks with the early flash, but Canyon's here for the chase. Chovy had the Room Prison, and down goes Shanks. Canyon secures first blood.
So close there to one more turret shot and a 1-for-1 trade, but Shanks uses his flash, still goes down, and no TP.
And that's really, really rough, especially with the wave state being as it is, right? Chovy is going to be able to shove this in, back. Shanks does not have TP, as you mentioned. He's not going to be able to catch all of this. Really, really nicely done from the mid-jungle duo of Gen.G.
Yeah, and although Canyon has been set behind a little bit in terms of jungle camps, he's in the right position at the right time. Spell Flux into the Room Prison. Really nothing Shanks can do at that point. Disappointment there, obviously, for anyone's legends if they lose. The early game has very much gone in Gen.G's favor. The sacrifices AL made with Flandre burning his flash early on haven't really gained them anything. Ruler has both summoners back up right now, so they haven't been able to get any of those early ganks, early punishes on the Gen.G bot lane.
Yeah, I am looking to see what they do now with... They do have some vision down, and I am curious to see if anyone is going to end up looking to take potentially a first Drake. But yeah, they weren't able to do a lot with that prio. By contrast, I actually thought that Keen was not able to do a ton with that top side prio either. Flandre is still down in CS, still down about 200 gold, but in a better spot than previously, and they weren't able to really hard punish it.
That's always going to be one of the big advantages of the Gragas, actually taking him down with the sustain. especially with this rune setup, is always going to be very, very tough. As Duro, Shanks is great if you can hook him. Kyle obviously basically brings the taunt to your AD carry, so he needs to be very deliberate with what he does with this Blitzcrank.
Canyon hits 6 off those Razor Beaks. Tarzan is already level 6, has that Impale. Actually, Canyon just short of it, now gets it from the mid lane. Keen here matching up into Hope on the top side. Kyle's on his way across, but Keen obviously very safe still with the hookshot wall dive. And as we have a moment before the grubs are begun, just want to remind people like how important this series and this MSI is for the LPL. Like BLG last year made 2 finals, weren't able to take the win in either of them. If AL can take down Gen.G here, it would just be such a great sign for the region. As Gen.G have taken 2 of the grubs. Keen goes in onto Tarzan, lands the stun. Kyle trying to get in there as well. Chovy and Duro there. Tarzan, good double impale. The Stand United is going to keep him alive, but now the explosive cast coming out as well. As Gen.G are looking for more. Hope down. Shanks and Flandre trying to retreat, but the Hexag Ultimatum will lock them up. There's the Blade Caller to follow up, and Shanks is dead. Flandre tries to jump the wall, and just as I was saying, it would be so good for anyone's legends. Gen.G have other ideas.
You curse them, Medic. But I will say, that really begins and ends for me with mid-prio, right? They're able to, A, get onto these grubs earlier, but be able to rotate up. Chovy's already here. Duro coming in, and basically Tarzan is so low, even though he is able to get the suppress. Hope gets killed off the back half of that fight, and it just goes entirely Gen.G.
And Ruler right there showing why he has a world's champion skin throughout the entirety of that fight. Unmarked, unchecked, able to get the recalls that set up Gen.G as Helper going crazy. This man is so expressive. And that's the flip side.
Yeah. I like how he didn't want to go crazy the first time we saw him. It just looked like relief was like leaking out of him. But yeah, that is Gen.G now off to a very handy 1.6k gold lead. And now that Camille that we were saying, oh, you know, Flandre, he's kind of caught up. No, Keen is absolutely going to be a menace in these side lanes. Really accelerated off those 2 kills.
Even there, though, I think for AL, we saw what is close to an ideal fight, because the amount of life that they were able to breathe into Tarzan, who looked like he was dead on arrival, right? There was the shield, there was the disengage from Gragas. They still kept him alive for a good amount of time. Is Hope!
Lands the hook onto Hope, and Hope almost gets out. Canyon able to take him down in the end, and now AO need to retreat. The Impale comes in, but there's a Realm Wall behind them as well. Tarzan and Shanks in the middle of 5. They'll get Canyon, but Shanks will fall next. Tarzan looking for Duro. Duro just walks away from them. Gen.G are absolutely shellacking AL.
X Factor indeed. Duro in game 5 of his first international finds the hook, and the entirety of Gen.G ready to fight AL. As Hope, at the very beginning of the fight, just gets yoinked.
Yeah, he gets yoinked, and even though you do kind of see the suppress Cassio combo right here, it really doesn't matter with Keen coming in on the back line. This Camille is only getting stronger.
Hexag Ultimatum coming out as well, as Keen has already finished the Triforce. He will be knocked out by the explosive cast. That's the counter ability that we talked about with the Gragas, but Flandre is 500 gold behind. Ruler is 1.4k ahead. As we see Flandre obviously not able to join that last fight.
Yeah, I was circling the itemization difference there because it is significant. As we see Ruler showing up on the Xayah. Again, a champion he's known for, very familiar with. As you pointed out, Chronicler has the skin. And Gen.G have completely taken control of this early game.
Very aggressive play from Gen.G, right? Actually doing this through fight, something we don't often see. As mentioned, how they often get their leads is laning slowly into cross map, into you look at your turrets, they're gone, you're down 4,000 gold just by minions. But AL, I think in this series also not letting them really play that style. And in this game thus far, Gen.G has been bringing the fight to them, as Flandre almost has his TP available. But the Drake is already gone. It's just the first dragon. So I think AL now have to be very deliberate. They get one more fight.
Yeah.
I think already you're obviously not going to be able to get prio, you're not going to be able to just get contest, but you get one more fight before the game is fully out of your hands.
Yeah, and I'm also looking at Chovy, right? 0-4 on this Rise, already has Roa locked in. He's going to be already kind of a pain in the butt to kill with what AL have right currently. So again, this Camille and Rise kind of being a bit ahead of schedule is a huge problem for AL.
I'm going to say Ruler might be on that list of
Ruler
huge
is
problems
also
as
on
well.
that list, true.
Okay,
He
one
does
problem,
have the
one problem
bounty.
at a time, Medic. let's focus
We
on
have a
what we
lot
can
of
fix.
problems.
Look, the major issue for AL is it can't be one problem at a time unless they manage to find picks in side lanes. Also, even if they do that, Chovy has the Realm Warp. You have reactions from Gen.G if you're looking for any of those picks. Hope now has got his Triforce. Yep. Shanks has his Archangel stacking up to the Seraphs. Flandre has his Rod of Ages at 1 stack. So they have got those first items. It's whether or not they want to fight the next objective. They kind of need to for the neutrals, because otherwise feats of strength are going to go over to Gen.G, but that might not be the biggest loss, or at least not as big as a lost fight around one of those neutrals.
For me, the core issue for AL is that this isn't the type of game where you can say we can hang back and skill, right? You just don't have that advantage. You don't have that luxury because there are so many champions on Gen.G that are equally happy to do the same thing, but they're accelerated. So obviously, they're not going to be too worried. Maybe the opportunity, as you already highlighted, to use that Shen ultimate to find a pick and side lane, get a numbers advantage, and then play from there. But you can't just try and play a normal 5v5, particularly not with this Blitzcrank being on the prowl.
Kyle
has a flank though onto Ruler, the cleanse away immediately. Juro still looking for more here as the TP comes in. Kyle has to flash away. Glacial Prison doesn't connect. Counter TP. Tarzan only with the Impale on one, and now Keen is there. Hexagon momentum is going to take him onto the tower. The Sad United enough to shield up Tarzan for now. The shutdown comes over to Hope as the chase continues. Shanks joins the fight, and he's spitting out Venom. He finds the shutdown. Ruler the flash away. The Blade Caller, but the pull in from Juro's not enough. Shanks has found poison, and Gen.G will suffer. Tarzan chasing further forward. Double twin fangs. AL roar into life.
And that's a triple for the Casio, and all of AL's problems seem to disappear.
They disappear with Casio poison. As we see, I actually thought this was going to be a really advantageous fight just because Kyle, even when he does get the taunt off, ends up having to flash out. But the Sedge ult misses, Tarzan gets the suppress, and then just watch Shanks as he goes through this fight, coming in from the top side.
No one that can match him at that point. The health bars aren't there. Crucial misses for me for Gen.G as Doro doesn't find the hook. Canyon's ult goes completely wide, and Shanks, he is not about to go down without a fight in this game. Flashes the recall, so many shutdowns going over. So that man right there as Tabe pops off.
Now the question is, for anyone's legend, can you keep that momentum going? Because Shanks is fed. He is now accelerated back in this game. The rest of the team, not so much. They didn't get as much gold as Shanks did. They weren't picking up those kills, those bounties. For Gen.G, they still have an incredibly strong AD carry, an incredibly strong top laner. Those matchups are still very much in the LCK's favor.
Yeah, and for me, for Gen.G, it is, you know, get this Camille into the side lane, get this Rise into the side lane, really push out those side lane waves, set the map in your favor in time for this next Drake spawn, which is going to be in just under a minute.
And as highlighted, the tools that you have to keep Shanks alive, barring a crazy hook from there, are actually amazing, right? You have the Flandre Cask, you have the Skarner Impale, and in that fight, it was more so, I think, Gen.G overextending, Shanks coming in when all the cooldowns were down, and he could just walk through with impunity, but between the Shen, especially currently sitting on Exhaust, almost has the heal available, Locket there as well. That's going to have to be the #1 issue to solve for Gen.G. Now, as mentioned, I do think that they have more carries in a good position. For AL, if Shanks gets zoned, it is kind of nothing for the rest of them. No 2-item spike for Hope, whereas Ruler already has hit that. He needs a second item. I think that Starix is going to be something when the Camille gets way more backline access, can stay alive for a lot longer. The base AD always going to be feeling great as Gen.G looking to start up this only second Drake of the game, the Hextech Drake here.
kind of blessed in game 3 with how quickly they were being taken.
Gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, anyone's legend deciding not to fight it. They have the Rift Herald, that's going to charge in. Feats will go over to Gen.G. Rift Herald will take the tower, Realm Warp in by Gen.G, but couldn't get there quickly enough to defend. I think that will be all that happens in that sequence, as it's just a tower for a Dragon Chain exchange.
And yeah, with that topside fight that got Shanks ahead, AL do buy themselves some time. They don't have to contest this Drake. I actually do like them focusing on heralding mid instead, getting that mid tier 1 down to give them a little bit more map pressure, especially off of being able to push in this mid wave. In particular, just because, as previously stated, this Camille and Ryze are such menaces in the side lanes.
Tarzan.
Looking for Keen, who does have the flash as soon as he sees Canyon. He's making a beeline out of that. Doesn't want any of that action. Meanwhile, in the top side, Chovy casked underneath the tower, but is able to walk his way out with the phase rush.
Bondre keeping Chovy honest. No flash available, so if Chovy would have gone, maybe knocked a little bit further, took a few shots, could have been an angle. As we have the Otacon coming up in about a minute, and the item breakpoints that have been hit. Currently still mostly the AD carries. Everyone else is approaching the second, but not quite there. And Hope also not sitting on his transformation yet.
Yep, as we see Gen.G pushing up in this top side. And again, I do think that Gen.G do have a few more tools, especially with the Camille and the Ryze, to kind of get this map pressure and prio to be able to set up for this, as we see Chovy with the support of Duro here, able to take down this tier 1. Really nice from Gen.G. They're going to be able to get vision on this top side prior to the Otacon spawn.
And Shanks is being dealt with by Keen right now. Has those upgraded Mercury treads, or the slightly improved ones at least, so he's not struggling too much in this matchup. Shanks obviously very happy to farm up as well. He's about 40 CS down from Chovy, which is what you often see when Chovy is on the map. But across the rest of the series, Shanks has actually done a really good job of keeping relatively even, or even ahead of the Gen.G mid laner.
Definitely,
I was going to say, I did like how Gen.G targeted him early too, right? Yeah. Like recognizing when they could go on him and really giving Chovy that push in the mid lane.
This might be the fight. Looking at the summoners available really across the board for everyone. Shanks on the side of AL, the main target for Gen.G, but the disengage that AL have is crazy. Gen.G, though, have the advantage of setting up shop first and might be looking to fish with that Blitzcrank hook.
So Keen also taking the bot lane tier 1. Shanks had to back all the way off there. Does have his flashback up, also has finished the Bloodletter's Curse, so he's sitting at 2 items.
In the brush.
Chovy a minute away from getting his Rod of Ages fully stacked. So, for Gen.G, being on the objective first, getting vision control, absolutely massive. The ability for Duro just to find hooks, to find picks. Sterak's now complete on Keen as he opens up through the mid lane. AL will step in and try and get a bit of vision control themselves. But it's nothing too monumental for them. Just a couple of wards placed down. Gen.G still have good control over that area.
And now we've gotten to the point where I think Gen.G want to wait until Ruler has his Infinity Edge. Just went back, bought a BF sword. They don't need to pull the trigger on Otacon here. Again, I think strengthened by the knowledge that so many of their champions become bigger problems as the game goes on. Chovy also sitting on 9 stacks on that Rod of Ages.
So many of their champions become bigger problems as the game goes on, but then also, again, this Ryze can just sit up in this top lane. This Camille push down the tier 1 is now continuing to push out this wave on the bot side, and then will potentially back. But yeah, that's the danger of this Gen.G comp, right? It's just their accelerated side lane pressure.
It's a good little vision pocket play there from anyone's legend. Trying to play around it. The hook's going to land onto Kyle. He's going to taunt his way away, but the Glacial Prison's still going to hit. Kyle able to survive. As Gen.G TP'd in Keen, but couldn't find much more. Kyle can now back, has the stand united as well to rejoin a fight. Drake up in 30 seconds time.
Both top laners using their TPs there, so even trade. Kyle does have to use 2 of his, as now Gen.G can turn that into prio on this dragon. They do have the possibility for a soul point with an Ocean Soul. So much extra sustain in the fights.
Just such a vision control game for Gen.G now as well. You can see no vision at all for anyone's Legends down in this bot side river, which means as soon as Duro steps into this bush, AL have to be cautious. Only the tanks can frontline. Kyle as well does have that flash back up, has also taken Smite off the unsealed spellbook. Ruler's going to start up the Dragon. It's a 9,000, 7,000, 5,000 with the Blade Caller. AL needs to get in here. Sharpish, explosive cast coming out. Kyle stepping forward with the Smite, but it's Canyon that secures it. Kyle's going to dash away. Chovy looking for that backline. The lands onto Tarzan. There's the permafrost follow-up, and Ruler takes the kill. Gen.G begin to turn and burn, but they get hit with a rocket. Shanks and Hope step forward onto Keen. Canyon on the backline. Hope turning around onto Sejuani. A hook onto Shanks though, as he's rooted up and shut down. The Hexagon made him enough to kill him off. Flandre now caught out with the permafrost. Kayao's gonna die to Keen, and Gen.G have found the fight. They follow it up for a clean ace.
And Gen.G, a topside fight in the jungle now, but a distant memory as another team fight is won. The Dragon goes their way, and Otacon sure to follow.
And I love how they set that up. Again, pushing out that bot wave with the Camille, starting up the Drake, forcing AL to come into them, and then this hook coming out from Duro onto Tarzan was massive.
And there's no impale, otherwise that can be straight up a game-losing play, but without that ultimate available, the Skarner has no recourse, and then a multi-pronged approach as another hook from Duro gets Shanks into the backline.
And crucially, it is onto Shanks, because he is the one person in this fight that can really destroy what Gen.G want to do.
Nice.
Thank you, Ruler. It was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. Thrice nice, you might say.
True.
Usually it's only one, so that is actually a big deal.
You can see how Shanks really struggled to have an impact in that last fight, only at 1.5k, whereas Chovy sitting at almost 5,000 damage, and it's a 5,500 gold lead now for Gen.G. Anyone's Legends are looking for a play onto Keen, who does have the flash. He knew something was going on. Tarzan's going for the chase here, though. Underneath the tower, Tarzan's going to tank it up. There's the Miasma into the Petrifying Gaze, into the Impale. Hexagon made him from Keen into the flash. Oh, he missed the wall. He maybe would have escaped. But the hookshot wall dive just short.
But then on the top side of this map, we see Chovy pushing in this wave. Gen.G are going to get absolute control over this top side, push in onto tier 2, clear out the jungle, and get complete vision to set up for this Baron. They might just start it.
Ooh, how much was used there? Let's take a look at the cooldowns that AO invested. No Shanks ult, no Tarzan ult, no Kyle ult. As they start the object, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. Ruler is so strong. 3 items already complete. Obviously, Chovy there as well. Rise at 2 items is just going to rip through a Baron. Duro slowed there by Tarzan, who's going to use the Ishtal's impact to get himself to safety. And in the end, Duro couldn't find a hook.
And a tiny objective bounty claimed from Flandre's Gragas, but it really doesn't matter necessarily. I mean, Gen.G had complete control over that top side after they were able to push in, just burn down the Baron so quickly.
That topside fight that brought AL back in the game wasn't fought over an objective. It was Gen.G just looking for what they thought was a few quick kills. But now this Rebel Baron power play is going to perfectly line up with the possibility of an Ocean Soul. And already I think AL are lacking damage, and that's going to get only worse.
Yeah, they really are. Shanks is lacking levels as well. He's currently 3 levels down on Chovy, who has had so much free time in these side lanes. Shanks has always had to back away from Keen because the threat of a Hexagon made him into a Sejuani follow-up has always been there, whereas Chovy has just had free reign of the top lane the majority of this game. Level 16 already at 26 minutes.
And we
17, in fact.
Yeah, Keen pushing in this top side, Rise coming to join the rest of Gen.G, pushing onto this tier 2. I mean, Gen.G can pretty much set up the map however they want. They have such strong split pushers in this composition, and it just makes it so difficult for AL to go in.
There's also the Blitzcrank, right? At any point, if you engage, you need to be sure, because if you kind of go half in and back off, you might just get grabbed. I think they see the pings go down. I'm pretty sure they know that Tarzan is in the area. 40 seconds here. Inhib is standing, but Gen.G, they're going to fully deny any sort of vision, and Keen with the TP can just live in the top lane, probably farm up for that GA before the Drake is started. And AL, I think the Hail Mary is about to be attempted here as Kyle TP's in the mid lane.
Canyon stepping forward, Kyle looking for it. Ruler though, so safe, so far away, so hard to collapse on. Keen continues to push through top, does have that teleport, recalling now. Andre looking for a flank, no vision here for Gen.G. Now places a control ward in the tri-bush. Hope not really that strong, so his poke isn't really going to stick. TP comes in from Keen as he looks for a flank of his own, has the GA, the hook connects again! And Chovy makes AL take a pew! Church is in session here for Gen.G. Keen on the backline, Flandre dead! Keen, you can't even pop his GA! The Angels are on the side of Gen.G. They get the triple, they get the ace, and they're looking to make it 21 series in a row.
Beautifully done from Gen.G. The picture perfect execution of this composition. They are barreling down bot side for the end to move on at this MSI.
Nerves of steel for Gen.G in the final game. As Keen, yet another insane performance in this final one. As Gen.G take down AL.
What a performance from Gen.G.
This was such a fun match.
My
Like,
God.
oh my
So
gosh.
good.